Hello guys, Erica Hargadon here, certified child sleep consultant with my private practice Babogue. I am the creator of the Sleep Series program, which is an online course to help you on your sleep journeys with your little ones, and I'm also a mum of three. So there's very little that I haven't seen on the sleep front myself with my own family. So in line with what I'm trying to cover off this month in terms of the 4 to 6 month age range and different things that arise within this age range that you guys send me messages about all the time, we're going to look today at the transition from 3 naps to 2 naps. This nap transition is a little bit different to other ones because this is one that your baby is actually more in control of. This is developmental. There will come a point at some stage between 7 and probably 8 months that this nap transition will start to become apparent with your baby. So essentially, they will either completely stop sleeping at that time, or they'll start to resist bedtime. So a lot of the parents I work with are actually quite surprised to hear that this nap is always the last nap of the day. It is the last nap that your baby will drop naturally. And if you're in somewhat of a rhythm and routine around your baby's sleep and you're napping, this nap probably happens at some point between maybe 4 and 5-ish in the day. So essentially, your little one will developmentally progress and their drive for sleep will diminish at that time, and they'll either stop napping totally, or you'll start to see maybe resistance at bedtime where things have been quite settled previously. These are signs that this nap is starting to become what I call a little bit tetchy. So how are you going to deal with this? Because obviously if your baby drops the third nap, you have this big long gap between the second nap and bedtime. And those of you following me a while will know that I talk about this gap being too large and that may cause overtiredness in your child, which has knock-on effects like fighting sleep, unable to maintain sleep, and often early morning waking. So really what you need to be looking at is your first and your second nap and how adjusting them will help your baby in adjusting to this change in their circadian rhythms. So just to go back a step, usually between 6 and 8 months, your child will be on 3 naps a day, starting at 4 months. So 4 months to 8 months, 3 naps a day. However, between 7 and 8 months is when you're going to see this third nap drop off. So lots of you might have a baby of 8 months that's still sleeping 3 naps a day, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't touch it if it's working for you. But some of you might start seeing this tetchiness around 7 months, so you need to respond to it. So let's say currently your baby is going down for their first nap at 9 o'clock. You're probably going to have to push that first nap out a little bit by 5 minutes a day until it's getting closer, maybe to 9:15 or 9:30. So you're essentially lengthening out their wake period, not necessarily going by wake period of 2 hours or 2.5 hours, maybe more towards the time on the clock that your baby would be going down for a sleep. Okay, so usually at this age range, 2.5 hours of a wake period might work, but going by the clock might also work. But remember, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So just take this all as guides. So letting your baby to have a good, decent sleep at that time. And then their second nap falls that little bit later. So let's say they sleep an hour in the morning and they're awake by 10:30, then their next nap might be due at about 1 o'clock. And what you'd love to see them do is sleep as close to 3 p.m. as possible, because they have dropped that third nap or on the road to dropping it, and the wake period then between that nap and bedtime will be, let's say, 4 hours at most, so 7 o'clock. That way you've got this nice stepping stone in their day. Now, I would generally find that you would see the third nap drop off quicker with children who are sleeping longer stretches at night or have complete consolidated night sleep. You would generally see that babies will hold on to the third nap for longer if they're dealing with a lot of multiple wakes at night. So it might be worth looking at what's happening at night before even thinking of adjusting things during the day, because what's happening at night and consolidated sleep at night is going to be more beneficial than any adjustments during the day. Now, I would generally see when I work with parents directly between the age range of 7 and 8 months that they would usually have 3 naps in the mix when we would start working together. But because the nights get cleaned up and the child is initiating and maintaining sleep themselves usually, then you would see that the third nap drops off and those adjustments in the daytime sleep come into play. It's so that the child continues to be supported in terms of what they need on their sleep journey. Now, I know a lot of you are going to come back to me and say, Erica, my baby starts their day at 5 o'clock. How am I going to adjust that nap forward? Adjust it forward. Generally, I would find that where a child is starting their first nap of the day early in the day, so like 8 o'clock in the morning. Now we're talking about children between 6 and 8 months here. So let's say they're starting their day at 5 o'clock in the morning and you're putting them back down for sleep, let's say at 8 or even earlier. You're actually reinforcing that early morning waking. Their cycle is set in their bodies. So I would encourage you to slowly, by 5 minutes a day or 15 minutes every 3 days, start shifting that first nap forward so that it's getting closer and closer to 9 o'clock. I would generally have a rule of thumb of no naps before 9 as far as possible within this age range, okay? Also, I would look at making sure that your baby is having their longest sleep of the day as their second sleep, not their first sleep, because that can actually reinforce the early morning waking as well. So I hope you found that useful. The touch points to think about are, am I seeing signs that my baby is getting a bit tetchy and starting to drop that third nap? How do I respond to it? I look at the rest of the daytime sleep and I adjust it so I'm plugging the gaps in the day and trying to end sleep and get sleep to 3 o'clock so that we can get bedtime at 7 o'clock. Hope you found that useful. If you're looking to know more about me, you'll find me on my website, babogue.com. Thanks a million.